Welcome to a one-of-a-kind podcast series brought to you by Maxim Institute, Maximise Election 23. We are here every week to dive into the latest news, discussing the plain and the fancy articles while bringing you insightful analysis of the various events across our country. We also present the Generally Good Egg Award and share our expectations for the following week. Today, Director of Research and Development Marcus Roberts is joined by Communications Manager Jason Heale and researcher Natasha Baulis. Let's dive right into Maximise Election 23.
Natasha, Jason, welcome to the podcast.
And great to be here, Marcus.
Good to have you. Fantastic. So we've got another week, in fact, a weekend of amazing electoral goings on, namely the two major parties' campaign launches.
Whiz bang is one of the headlines. A whiz bang weekend.
It's always one of those things, if you have to say that it's whiz bang, is it actually?
Probably not whiz bang,
So we had the Labour Party on Saturday, followed by the National Party on Sunday. So what we thought we'd do today is we'd do a plain and fancy for both parties. So we'll rapid fire in the next 5 minutes. Let's start with Labour on Saturday. We've got a plain about them is their free dental.
Yes.
Phew, so original. No one else has been talking about free dental.
So someone else has been talking about free dental though, haven't they, Natasha?
Yes, well, I think the Greens Party felt like that.
So they had the Green Party saying everyone gets free dental service. And
this is the watered-down Green version.
Right, so this is the dental party. Dental party, dental
turquoise?
Policy light.
Brown, actually, when you combine green and red.
Yeah. So it's for up to 30-year-olds. Up to 30-year-olds, free dental clinics, free dental checks, annual dental check, cleans and x-ray, basic fillings and extractions by July 2026. So not right away. It's going to cost about $400 million over 4 years. Jason, what do you think?
Well, where are the dentists coming from? That's like my first question, right? We've talked before about kids' dental waiting times that are already free, especially post-COVID, where now they don't follow up on you. They don't say, hey, your kid's dental appointment's coming up.
They kind of hope you don't notice.
They're like,
Mum and Dad in the kitchen eating the chocolates.
That's right. So, because there's a big backlog, right? I think it's several months waiting. So, to increase that to under 30, I think it's another 12 years. Where are they going to find these dentists?
Because presumably the point is to increase demand.
Yes.
Because they want people to go who aren't going.
Yes.
So how are we going to...
How are we going to meet that demand?
Well, I'm fairly sure that's why, dentists and senior doctors are striking this week, is because there's just not enough demand for their services and they're feeling left out.
That's right. They want some more attention.
Not that there are too few of them and too high demand.
And there's too many hours, not enough pay, all that stuff.
Okay, so that's the dental policy. The next one is the fancy for the Labour Party. We thought we'd talk about their interesting use of alternative facts in their social media campaign when talking about other parties' policies. So we had a couple of social media posts from the Labour Party last week saying that National and ACT, when they get into government, are going to put interest rates back onto student loans and take away the first-year free policy, which was introduced a few years ago by Labour, which is very scary, but also not true.
I think what New Zealand needs really is an organisation who's responsible for fact-checking some of these things and making sure that
we don't get disinformation. Something like
could be a project.
It could be an ongoing project of disinformation. I don't know. I haven't got any ideas coming to me right now.
That's right. It has been interesting, though, the lack of interest or news being put forward by the Disinformation Project.
Which you would think, as their name suggests, when a major political party releases something that is incorrect and not factual.
Is it just an alternate fact?
Yeah. Well, in the world of competing feeling facts, it could be.
I get a good vibe about that fact.
It sounds like something they might do, so we'll just leave it.
So I think the Labour Party has pulled them down. They were shamed, I think, into doing so when they realised that it's not true. But I suppose, what's the idea that truth is just getting out of bed? Well, the lies have gone right around the world.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think there's a bit of that going on there. But yes, silence from the Disinformation Project. Come on, guys, raise your game.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the Labour Party. Let's move on to National. The Plain, well, it's pretty much all about tax cuts and tax policy last week, wasn't it, Jason?
Yeah. And I think a National really kind of jumped ahead in the way that they had pre-programmed everyone in some way to get ready for it, and the way that they actually announced it. They'd done their homework. They had... at least on paper, provided for all of these tax cuts. And I think ultimately $250 a fortnight beats $4 a week.
Well, it's a way to look extraordinarily fiscally responsible in that they have all of their information at hand, but at the same time, they're giving everyone a little bit of money. So I think it will prove to be quite popular.
Yeah, it dominated the last week, didn't it? If nothing else, we're all arguing about whether their costings were correct, whether their assumptions were correct, but either way,
they might pay for it, all that sort of stuff.
Because it seems too good to be true, right?
Yeah.
That's the...
Yes, but at least everyone from National Party's point of view would say at least they're talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really pushed out all other news. Until they announced... as well as getting a tax cut, we could also get a pledge card.
Yes.
So that's the fancy for National. It doesn't get much more fancy than this.
Got to catch them all, actually.
Yeah, that's
I'm hoping
right.
I could get a full set by the end of the election.
And have the whole set. We should trade. I've got my National pledge card.
What do we think are going to be like the high scoring ones that everyone in the
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, everyone on the playground is trying to get their hand on an elusive
the
act.
rare ones. Yeah, the ACT pledge card, or maybe a Freedom New Zealand one.
Yeah, I don't know what primary school you guys went to, but it certainly wasn't keen. So we've got a pledge card here with Chris Luxon personally guaranteeing that National will do these 8 things: support seniors, cut health waiting times, build infrastructure, restore law and order, lower inflation, grow the economy. What do we think about it? What do you think the fact that he's personally guaranteeing?
Yeah, it's definitely ambitious.
He's putting his name and reputation on the line there, personally guaranteeing it.
Does it come back and people say, well, you promised to do this? And
does anyone? I mean, surely this isn't the first time that they've had
said,
pledge cards, though. Yeah. Have we looked back at historically and seen?
So the only one that comes
personally guaranteed other
personally
things.
Guaranteeing, and maybe we could follow them up on a few of the things that have been lacking for a while.
Yeah, it would be nice to follow these promises up, I think.
Maybe they could put a tick box next to it, like a check box. That would be helpful, and then you can kind of...
We have achieved.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that's what they're hoping, that people will take them seriously to say, well, these are achievable, or you'd hope that they would achieve them. But yes, as we've seen over the last 6 years, it's very easy to make promises, harder to put them into practice.
Yes.
Okay, major parties. Let's leave them there for now, but let's move on to our winners of the week. Natasha.
I think Nicola Willis cannot lose.
Yeah.
She will either be the finance minister or she'll be the head of the party. And so I think
that's if they win, she's finance minister.
That's right.
If they lose, she's head of the party, so she's still
the
a
next
winner.
Reasonable choice. Yeah. I think particularly after their tax announcement, she's looking really good. Yeah. She was very articulate. She was very well informed. She had all her speaking points. Mm-hmm. She answered the questions. She was across the detail. Yeah, absolutely. She done her homework. Yeah.
She looks serious.
She's leader quality. And whether that's in government or as the leader of an opposition, I think.
So you don't think she's too closely tied to Chris Luxon? She's a deputy, so if they lose, both fall?
No, I think the way that things have been trending in the polls, it would be pretty easy to make the argument that if the election is lost for National, they're lost over a personality issue. And she's not, I think, associated with that personality issue.
She's not the leader.
So National's seen a bump in the polls, but their leader hasn't seen a commensurate bump, so you could say, well, people like the party.
That's right.
But not necessarily the leader or the face of the party.
Right.
And so we could keep the policies, change the leader, boom.
Winning combination.
Yeah, that's great.
One way she could lose, they win, but their vote is almost the same as ACT. enact demand the finance portfolio.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I hadn't. It's
probably unlikely.
Taking notes.
Yeah. Okay, so Nicola Willis, it's a strong contender for winner of the week. Jace.
Yeah, I think hecklers are the winners of the week for me, because at both of the campaign launches over the weekend, there was great hecklers interrupting and yelling and doing the thing that hecklers do.
I love a good heckle.
Yeah, it's great. I think it is part of our democratic process. It gets the politicians to talk to the people on the street, gets them
to answer
interacting
the questions they're concerned about.
Exactly, the things that people are passionate enough about, to get out of bed and go to a meeting of an opposition party that they don't like and yell something at the person who's doing the speech. Like, that's a lot of effort.
It's true. I mean, it's difficult enough to get people to vote, let alone to heckle. Should be
it's political engagement, right? That's what we want.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think it's entertaining. It's part of our process, and it actually serves a purpose. It's like a voice of the people. So go for them.
Anything that keeps politicians on their toes is something that I'm in favour of. The winner would be if there had been a heckler of Nicola Willis. Yeah. But unfortunately there wasn't, so we're going to call that one a draw. Okay, losers. I'm going to start off with my losers of the week, and that's all the small parties.
Yeah.
You see the difference in media treatment when it comes to small party policies and promises and big parties. When National or Labour bring out a policy, people dissect it because there's a much greater chance of it going into practice. Whereas when the Greens announce free dental, everyone says, the Greens...
How are they?
They're going to do it. It's not going to happen. When Labour promised free dental for up to 30, people say, there's a good chance that this could happen. Similarly with the national tax cuts, as we were saying earlier, dominated proceedings last week, right? Yeah. So I think small parties not getting the airtime, this is what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other losers we've got?
I'm putting Andrew Little in the ring. I noticed that he had a bit of a publicity moment where he had a photo taken with a bunch of community immigration leaders, leaders in community and immigration, and talking about the accredited employer work visa issues, the fact that thousands of people are being taken advantage of in really awful ways since that came into play, and it came into play under this government.
I was going to say, wasn't he
post-COVID?
He person
brought it
who
into play.
Brought it into play?
So, given that there's no opportunity for Andrew Little to do anything about that at this stage in the game because Parliament's not sitting anymore, so poor timing, not great timing
not
at
great
all
optics,
to shine a headlight on a really, really bad policy that's had awful ramifications for some very vulnerable people. So that would be my contender.
Good one. Any others?
Speaking of Parliament not sitting, right, Parliament is kind of a loser. Recently we've had so many bills under urgency coming through.
Don't get me started.
New Zealand's a winner in that context.
Well, maybe we should have put ourselves in the winner category for that, but and then parliamentarians being censured and things like that for speaking about court cases that are still through the courts, and there's name suppression and things like that. I think the tenor of Parliament has maybe decreased a little bit in the last couple of weeks as they've been sitting.
Probably just as well they're not sitting any longer.
Yeah, that's right. So,
could only get worse from here.
Let's hope not. Yeah.
Someone was commenting that it was sort of an end of school term feel to it, which infantilizes politicians, maybe not unjustly. Right, let's talk about our generally good egg. Natasha, do you have anyone?
I'm going to nominate the Freedom Party.
Oh, yeah.
Look, we just talked about the fact that the smaller parties aren't getting as much attention, but they did manage to get the issue of vaccine injury and compensation for that out there so that people are talking about it at all, and I think that's good. I think people should be talking about some of the ramifications for individuals as a result of the vaccine mandates. So, that would be my...
And that's not an entirely crazy idea, is it?
I mean, it sounds off the cuff crazy, right?
But Australia's been doing it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The more you think about it, you look around the world.
I think administratively they've had some issues, but at least acknowledging the personal cost for people that those policies had, particularly for their health, but also for their career trajectories. I think the government needs to acknowledge that and do something to compensate people. So, I think...
Any likelihood of it being taken up, do you think, by bigger parties, Chase?
It's still a contentious issue here in New Zealand. For some reason, we haven't managed to have a decent conversation about loss of income, loss of jobs, health ramifications.
New Zealand isn't really post-COVID in the same way, though.
That's a good
point. I feel like when I go to Australia, nobody's talking about COVID anymore. Nobody's testing. Nobody's isolating. Whereas here, we still have isolation policy in New Zealand. You know, if you test positive, 7 days at home. As far as I know, just recently though. That's, I feel like it's still front of mind for New Zealand in a way that it isn't for Australia.
Maybe when we get a change of government like Australia has had, it'll be a bit
that
more
might help actually.
If we get a change of government, of course. Okay, so we've got the Freedom Party. I had a generally good egg, and that was the leader of the National Party, Chris Luxon, for engaging one of these Freedom Party people actually at a stand-up.
Engaging a heckler, right?
Engaging a heckler. He got
go the hecklers, see?
Theme of this podcast. He got heckled at a media stand-up. It was getting, he dealt with it relatively well. It was getting too disruptive, so he moved inside, but he said, I will come and speak to you in person because you've obviously got some concerns. But the heckler didn't want to stay around and talk to him. So afterwards, apparently, one of the reporters said that he went to find this heckler to talk to him outside the media. He didn't want to hang around. So good on Chris Luxon for engaging or trying to engage with someone who obviously didn't agree with him. So that was my generally good egg. Who's the winner, Jace?
I'm going to go Freedom Party.
Because they actually came into both of them.
So that's right. Yep. No, that's great.
Awesome. Okay, well, the week ahead, we don't have any campaign launches from Labour or National anymore. Yes. So what possibly do we have to look forward to?
No more Parliament. No more urgency, right?
Right.
There you go. We're just talking about how Parliaments are, been losing all this stuff under urgency. There's none of that. None of that. We've done all the laws we can for the 53rd Parliament. It's done.
Yep.
We're done. That's what we can look forward to. No more.
I'm hoping that so the senior doctors and dentists strike is on Tuesday.
Yes.
Hopefully, obviously, they can come to some sort of arrangement before then. But if not, it would be great to be hearing some really coherent policy around improving health. I think, you announcing a dental plan at the same time as dentists are saying they're overworked is probably a little bit irresponsible. Let's bring out some responsible, achievable answers to the problem of health in New Zealand, which is an increasing problem.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Aging population.
And to pledge that you're going to cut health wait times or fix the health system is one thing, but what are you going to do to fix that?
How
Jason, you were saying that there was an empty...
Yeah, so someone that I know works in the primary health sector, and they work in a building that has just been built. They're not a doctor, but they work in this building, $2.5 million just built, and there's no one in there today because they don't have enough doctors to staff it. They have to go to another clinic. So, it's like we need more doctors. we need something to fix the system because you've got a brand new beautiful building, and they're at some old building in the middle of nowhere because they don't have doctors.
And it's going to get worse, right? Because we've got an aging population who need more primary health.
But so does Australia, and Australia pays better.
Exactly.
So.
Well, and I can tell you there's plenty of doctors who are just biding their time here in New Zealand to do enough years so they can register and go to Australia. And that's it. So that we're just paying for Australia's doctors.
And the ones who aren't are nearing retirement themselves. So, so hear that, political parties? Have a think about that.
Some proactive, decent health policies to fix our problem.
I'm looking forward to some corner meetings coming up. I got a letter from my local MP saying that he was going to be around doing corner meetings with people, and literally on street corners. Like on a street corner? No, literally in residential street corners. We're not talking about even the local shops. So two residential streets.
On a soapbox?
Oh, let's hope so. That would be fantastic.
Come on, that would be awesome.
With a 5-minute timer and lots of hecklers. So I'm looking forward to that bit of campaigning. No more Parliament, as you say,
Yeah.
Jace. Maybe they'll talk about health, but who knows. But anyway, that's it for this week of the Maximise Election 23 podcast. Thanks, Jason. Thank you, Natasha.
Yeah, thanks, Marcus. Thanks for listening to the Maxim Institute podcast. If you'd like to hear more from us and keep up with the rest of our research and analysis of politics and policy in New Zealand, you can sign up on the homepage of our website to get our monthly forum email and invitations to future Maxim Institute events. You can search and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. From the team at Maxim, mā te wā. Goodbye for now.